So, 2025 is just around the corner. We said this on a few videos, and as we know, people are going to get pushed. So, I have taken a few names, and I think they are going to be the stars of 2025. Maybe I'm one of them. Look, the Progress Proteus champion. People are getting so mad. They go, Simon, you're such a nerd. Of course I'm a nerd. It's like wrestling threw up on me. But I earned that damn thing, man. I've been wrestling every weekend for the last 8 years. So I'm pretty proud of myself. I mean, I probably shouldn't be, but I am. But let's not worry about that. I'm not in this list. And here's the push people of 25. Now, I'm going to do number 10 and 9 together because I think there's some fishy stuff going on. And I think it's a work, brother. More power to WWE. This should be the way. People should be trying to work us. That's the point of wrestling. And it's something I actually get quite upset about because I'm a loser. People are, oh man, I can't believe you conned me. Wrestling's a massive con. It's to make you an idiot. It's good that they were able to tell you a story and get you to suspend your disbelief. But both Montez Ford and Angelo Dawkins are doing interviews or doing tweets going, man, I'm sick of this disrespect. Why aren't we getting pushed? The stop starts, all of this. Montez Ford went as far to say I still have singles aspirations. When I got into this, I wanted to be the WWE champion. So if I have to leave my tag team partner behind, that's what I'm going to do. So maybe even at WrestleMania 41, we're going to get Street Profit versus Street Profit, but I'm not putting Montez Ford in there without Angelo Dawkins and vice versa. They are number 10 and they are number 9 because I do not think this needs to be a rocker situation. And let's not forget, my Jannetty would have been fine, but my Jannetty had some serious personal issues. That's what stopped him from flying. WWE, or the WWF as it was then, brought him back time and time again, but he was always do something where they had to be like, well, now we have to get rid of you, Marty, because why can't you control yourself? I don't think Montez Ford or Angelo Dawkins is going to do that. And while maybe, I'm just speculating here, Montez goes on to be the champ, and I don't know, Angelo Dawkins becomes a US champ, that's still pretty damn good. And the first time you took a bump, if somebody told you that, be like, wow, I'm going to have a really decent career. So I think by the end of 2025, they're not necessarily going to be winning titles per se, but they may have had a feud, and one of them would have gone face and one of them gone heel if we do that, because it's the only way to make it work. Shout out to Doo-Doo. That person always comments. I appreciate it. But I think we can turn them into super mega single stars. Montez Ford is a special talent, and Angelo Dawkins has worked his ass off these last few years, and he is way better than people give him credit for, and he's way able to stand on his own 2 feet, and he's got the size too, right? So you can argue this whichever way that you want. But if we are not planning to do this, we should push them as a tag team anyway. But also, I kind of feel like that's run its course. It's just what happens. They've been doing this for 4 or 5 years, and it's been really cool to see their evolution, because at first they were all personality. Well, not all personality, but their in-ring work got so much better, and they had that synergy and that chemistry. But now let's let them run loose through the singles division, and let's see what the fans say. Let them dictate the path they should go down. But I'm saying both these guys are going to get big pushes in 2025, and I support them. Which also moves us on to a super easy one, but that's the whole point, man. Sometimes they are looking you in the face. Jacob Fatu. If Jacob Fatu does not win a mid-belt, whatever a mid-card title in 2025, we've gone crazy. I've said this on a lot of videos now, so forgive me for repeating myself, but I would give him the Intercontinental title after moving him to Raw when we go to Netflix in January 2025, because WWE had quite clearly earmarked him as a star, so put him on Monday nights, which is going to become the A show, for lack of a better term. He can beat Bron Breakker, again, they can feud for the rest of their lives, or he could beat LA Knight for the US title. Either one, it doesn't matter, but we should spend 2025 basically telling you this guy's a main eventer. This guy's going to win a world championship. This guy is the best. And then when we get to WrestleMania 42, maybe he can be in that position. Because let's face it, he came in with an incredible push. Ever since his debut, he has been absolutely excellent. So there's no reason to think we can't carry this on, but the machine does have to get behind you. So I do think he'll be one of these prospects. I think he will not prove everyone wrong, so we're all behind him, but he will find his way. And all he needs to do is cut some of these promos. Go on YouTube today, look at a Jacob Fatu promo. That's the only thing he hasn't done. He'll be fine. He comes across like an unhinged maniac, which is all what you need to do, but it's better than the unhinged maniacs from the 80s because Jacob actually makes sense. So I think this one is a no-brainer. I think it's going to be super fun to see, and along the way you're going to get some banger matches as well. I'm pretty damn excited about it. And then we go down to NXT because I do not think we can get through the whole year without Julia being called up. I know that we're taking our time because of the language barrier, but I'm sure she'll get that down. But the work she's already doing in NXT is so good. I'm just a bit like, this is fine. And she can be down there for as long as you want because she'll come up eventually at some point and she'll feel like a star regardless. But maybe my impatience is like, just do it now and bring Becky Lynch back. I really want to see Becky Lynch versus Julia. There's Julia versus Rhea Ripley. There's Liv Morgan. I'm not going to run down everyone. Right? There's Io Sky, Kairi saying I'm doing it now. Even Chelsea Green. We've kind of seen that already. But there's so many. Bianca Belair. Look, I'm cutting myself off because, there's people I'm not even thinking about. But, it all depends on what you want to do. But the NXT women's division is so damn deep that maybe there are other people that would benefit from being front and center down there, whereas someone like Julia can be called up, which also brings me to my next entry, which is Stephanie Vaquer. It's exactly the same thing. The fact they tagged them together kind of sums up how WWE sees them. They can even do a feud in NXT before being called up, like Tommaso Ciampa and Johnny Gargano did. Maybe you even carry that on to Raw or SmackDown, although I'd put one on Raw, one on SmackDown, because I think they're too good to put them on the same brand. I don't think that would be fair. But these are not people that have been brought up to be developed. These are people that have been brought in because they're good to go, and they add depth, like I say, to any single roster. And it wouldn't surprise me if they both became champions in 2025. I think they're that good. And you can argue that their promos aren't their best skills, but there's ways and means around that. You rarely hear Io Sky cut a super fire promo. She just says a few words, but she hits home. And I'm pretty sure these guys will be able to do that too. Io Sky versus Julia in a WWE ring is going to be the most surreal thing ever. I don't know whether they'll hold them back, for lack of a better term. But I think they're so talented, they'll find a way to kick each other's ass. And it's the same with Stephanie Vaquer. Again, she came into NXT. She's been damn good. We just can't get through 2025 without someone going, you know what, we should bring them up. Even if it's for a little bit of a run, much like we did with the Metaphor kind of from nowhere towards the end of 2024. You could do that with them too, but I would absolutely go big and hard and make video packages and say, oh my God, these people are coming, and you need to be super excited. So it all depends on how long can you keep a bird caged, to quote the Shawshank Redemption. And as long as you can do that, fine, keep them in NXT. But when they have the confidence, just let them run wild, man. I don't want to miss out on any opportunities because wrestling is so weird. And sometimes, like I say, you do have to strike while the iron is hot. But yeah, they're both going to get massive pushes, no matter the brand in 2025. They're probably going to become the face of the women's division. And somebody else that I hope kind of does that from a mid-card perspective, which always sounds terrible, which I don't mean, is Chelsea Green. I've said this before, I'm saying it again. I think we are going to introduce an Intercontinental Women's Champion, probably at WrestleMania 41. And I think Chelsea Green should get the nod because she's someone that she could lose it within a week. I wouldn't want that. But because she becomes the first one, that's the ticket, right? That's the amazing thing. You go into the history books and no one is ever going to forget that. And the term "she deserves it" is so overused in wrestling, but she's so entertaining and she's so giving, and all she ever cares about is creating moments or whatever it may be. I just think it would work. And I think in a WrestleMania environment where you do have the hardcore fans that clearly like Chelsea, you can see it on the internet, shouldn't do this because obviously they're together. But it's a bit like Matt Cardona at WrestleMania 31 or 33. I think it was 31. But him being on top of the ladder, finally getting his Intercontinental title was wonderful, even though he lost it to The Miz 24 hours later. And I think Chelsea Green being the first women's Intercontinental title would have that same feeling. And you can make it a multi-person match. Maybe you make it a ladder match. And I think even if you had 6 people in it, if Chelsea was part of it, that's who the crowd would gravitate towards. And I think WWE would be smart to know that. And I would push her as well. Again, she can be a fun comedy champion. Again, people say that like it's a bad word. It's not. I love comedy wrestlers. But even if she's slipping on a banana peel to keep that thing, she'll be great at it. So you'll look forward to Intercontinental Championship matches. And we have so many crazy workers. We just talked about 2 of them. It's not like Chelsea's bad at that. She just works in a different way. So that's the variety I need, especially in my WWE shows. They can't all be the same. So I'm willing this one into existence. I think we should do it. I think it would be damn entertaining. Carmelo Hayes is another guy that I want to get behind just because he has adapted so well to the main roster, even though he loses all the time. He lost to Cody Rhodes. He did beat Baron Corbin. Sucks what he did to Baron Corbin. It really annoys me. And then in his best of 7, it was 3-3 essentially, but with the LA Knight 3-way, he didn't massively do well there either. So it's not like his win-loss record is amazing, but he just fit in. I don't understand how he did it. He's just got that secret sauce. So, listen, we talked about Jacob Fatu becoming the Intercontinental Champion. I think Carmelo Hayes should be the guy to become the US Champion. I know he wasn't successful. We did LA Knight, Andrade, and him. but he has already proven that he used his time in NXT to understand his character, understand what WWE wanted. And again, he's not a super huge guy, but he's still managing to fit in. So maybe you move him to Raw, maybe you keep him on SmackDown, but I think we should get behind him, and I think we should see how far we can go for him. Like, there's no way he'll be going for a world championship in 2025, or you doubt it. But if we put in the right energy and we put in the time and we come up with the right focus, come 2026, I think it could be a different conversation, because he's got all the tools in the ring. He's got the arrogant persona, which always works. He's not scared of a microphone. Carmelo Hayes just won me over. I'm super excited to see what we're going to do with Carmelo Hayes, and I don't want to drop the ball with him, but sometimes you need the machine getting behind you. Now, I actually think Carmelo would always be able to figure this out, but think how high he could go if we go the other way. So once again, I'm throwing this out into the universe, and I hope it does come back, but if nothing else, I think he's getting a big push in 2025. Number 3 is someone that actually could follow in Carmelo Hayes' footsteps, because by the end of 2024, I think that Ethan Page's time in NXT is probably coming to an end in a good way. He's been the champion. He's feuded with Trick Williams. He's done all this other stuff. Had the ECW show. I would have him debut in the Royal Rumble, and man, I would get behind this guy. He is tailor-made for WWE. He's tailor-made for an IC title run. He's tailor-made for a US title run. Maybe you could even do Ethan Page versus Carmelo Hayes. I think that would be super fun, although they're both heels, so you can't do that. I wouldn't want to turn either of them. They're too good at being bad guys. But I just think that story would be awesome as well. And if you want to get into the politics of the situation, Ethan Page would succeed. And if WWE want to march around saying, we took the AEW Ring of Honor guy and we made him twice the success that he was, well, you can do that as well. But of course, it comes down to Ethan's talent, and it comes down to his hard work. But I've really enjoyed what he's done in NXT, because he almost comes across like a throwback in a good way to what people thought the old WWE characters were. But he understands his role. He understands when he has to be the punchline. And I just enjoy his matches. And he'll do anything, right? He'll do anything. We saw that when he was in TNA. He doesn't have, ironically, everyone has an ego, but he doesn't let his ego get in the way. And he gets what wrestling is. He gets that he needs to be entertaining. I would put him in the Royal Rumble. I would have him get a pop of some kind. He could even get thrown out straight away. Actually, that ties into number 2 as well. So I don't want to get too ahead of myself. But I just think that if we are still looking at NXT like a ground to go, is this person going to be able to make it on Raw and SmackDown? He has ticked every single box, and it's been awesome to see. And I'm a big fan of the human being as well, but that's neither here nor there. Like, that just makes me enjoy what he's doing even more, because he doesn't drop the ball. He's so reliable. And sometimes reliability in wrestling is underrated and it's underutilized. You could put him into any kind of a feud and he would make it so fun. So I do hope he gets his call up onto either Raw or SmackDown. And I've got Joe Hendry on here as well. Now, of course, it ties into the TNA contract. When's it up? When's it not up? Is he going to be in the Royal Rumble? I just got this feeling like Jordan Gray should be on here, and she's not. I do not know why. She should have been. I didn't put her on there. I made a mistake. I think she will be in WWE come January. And I still think at some point during 2025, Joe will make the jump across as well. I have no information. I do not know. But once more, if WWE gets behind him, we've seen how that crowd reacts to him. It could become something crazy. And even if he just comes out in the Royal Rumble before he does go back into NXT, the power of the pop in a Royal Rumble can essentially make your career. I mean, look what it did for, I don't want to say look what it did for AJ Styles, because Vince McMahon was like, well, it must have been a fluke. But I think it probably made a lot of people within management go, man, we've underestimated AJ Styles, which is dumb, because AJ Styles literally helped change wrestling, but we don't need to talk about that. But if Joe Hendry does figure out his contract situation, whatever it is, and he has a proper NXT WWE deal, I think they're going to want to push him huge. Again, you don't do that. So social media numbers, right? You don't just do that without WWE realizing. And he's not an overnight success. Joe's been working at this for a long old time. Very happy to play a teeny tiny role in his journey, because we did have that match in TNA. But I think this is going to be exciting. And actually, I've realized number 1 is a trifecta of NXT guys, because it's definitely time to call up Trick Williams. I mean, you can maybe hold off that until post-WrestleMania and have him hold the championship for a good old 6 months. But sometimes I think, because people say, he needs something else. He needs something else when it comes to his in-ring. Maybe what he needs is more experience on a Raw or on a SmackDown. He's got the character down. People love him. He connects. Again, he's not scared of a microphone. He loves that thing. And this guy could main event WrestleMania. And even if there are some fumbles along the way, which is a poor choice of words by me, just let him sink or swim, because eventually he's going to swim. Of course he is. I don't think you can keep him locked up in NXT forever. You can overcook the pudding. So let's throw him on Raw Let's throw him on SmackDown. Let's put him in some feuds. Let's get him in IC title and US title programs and see how he gets on. Put him with people that you think are better in-ring workers, and he'll only benefit from that. I think Trick Williams is great. I think he's so good. And genuinely, I'm not just saying it. 2026 could be too early. Let's say 2027, but within the next 2 to 3 years, you could put him at the top of a card. And if everything's gone right and the crowd keeps reacting to him like they have done, the world is his oyster. And 2025 has to be the super big push. I mean, you could argue we've done that in 2024, but it has been down at NXT. So let's call him up. Like, if we are going to see Raw as the A show and SmackDown as the B show, put him on SmackDown and just build the whole damn thing around him for a while to see if it's going to work. I mean, I'm sure the Bloodline's probably going to have a say in that, but they have to break up and stop eventually. So just put him in a decent position and see what he can do. But I'm such a big fan of Trick Williams, and I don't see the point in waiting anymore. I don't see what else you're going to do with him being the NXT champion, even though he's had a super duper good run. So I keep my fingers crossed for this, and I think that WWE probably has this planned to begin with. There's so many matches I would love to see him have. Like, I don't know what it is, but LA Knight versus, it doesn't make any sense because they're both faces, but LA Knight versus Trick Williams for the US title, I would absolutely love. Or Trick Williams versus Jacob Fatu, I think would be so good. And it just feels so fresh and it feels so new. And I think if WWE can start introducing that sort of younger generation of talent and putting them in big positions, that's probably going to not necessarily bring across a whole bunch of new fans, but you may start appealing to a younger demographic that can keep the momentum up that you've had for the last few years. So there's my list of 10. Now you have to let me know. You can either put a list of 10 or you can just pick one. That may be more interesting, but drop me a comment below. Otherwise, please do like the video, share the video, and subscribe. Click the notification bell, ding, ding. Click the video on the screen, which is me doing my wild predictions for 2025. Otherwise, it is grillamine.com/Simon. You can sometimes get 10% off, sometimes more. There's a link down there. Again, they are going to support the brand new Simon Miller Fitness channel, which launches January 2025. So there's something I'll be pushing myself in that year. Otherwise, Go Fitness, use the code Simon20. Patreon.com/Simon316 to support me that way. Simon316 on all social media. Simon Miller on the TikToks. No, Simon Miller on Cameo. Every damn time. Simon J. Miller on the TikTok and ProWrestlingTees.com/Simon Miller for dumb Simon Miller merch. That's the end of that, my friends. I appreciate you. Thank you for stopping by, and I'll talk to you again soon.